Oh man, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, Errol Spence fans are getting a good old laugh at the expense of Terence Crawford, as Terence Crawford's ish talking seems to have come back to bite him. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're looking at the 154-pound division, where somebody thinks that they're king, but is finding out that they're really not. And that person is Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford has had a lot of things happen over the last couple of days, but as I've spoken to Errol Spence fans and had people remind me, they go back to the fight date between he and Israel Madrimov, when Bud Crawford was asked and Bomac was asked about the fight with Errol Spence. Are you going to rematch Errol? And they said, no, we're not going to do that. Now, I have to tell you, I'm not, overly optimistic about that rematch. Terence Crawford really did do his thing in the first fight. And even though Israel Madrimov did his thing with Terence Crawford and made it a very close fight that I think Terence Crawford won, but it was a very close fight. Still, Terence Crawford looked like he was still the same level of fighter that I've always thought he was. So he's going to be dangerous for everybody at 154 pounds. And we don't know how Errol will look since, the year, well over a year off he's had since he lost at Terence. We'll see him in his next fight. However, cannot deny that Terence Crawford is not, as far as the scope of boxing, he's not what he thinks he is. He's not what Turki Al-Sheikh is trying to market him as, which is somebody that has a large following. If you're not, and somebody that is going to pick and choose who he wants to fight at 154 for his legacy. The truth of the matter is that Terence Crawford is not in a situation to pick and choose who he's going to fight. It's just something that did not happen for him. Some fighters get put in that situation where, like Floyd Mayweather Jr. got to the pinnacle of the career of the sport. He got to the point where he could start picking and choosing and saying, "Oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do these kind of off things to build my legacy and to make money for myself," right? He was able to get the Canelo fight. He was able to get the Manny Pacquiao fight. He went up different divisions. He could fight who he wanted to fight, and everybody was in the lottery for Floyd Mayweather Jr. Similarly, at 135 pounds, everybody's in the Gervonta Davis lottery from 140 all the way down to 130. They're all in the Gervonta Davis lottery, which allows Gervonta Davis to pick who he wants to fight. Terence Crawford, after he beat Errol Spence Jr., the word was that now he's at a different level. He's at a different status now, and he's going to go get Canelo Alvarez. And one day he wants to fight Jermell Charlo. The other day, no, I'm past Jermell. No. He wants to fight Errol the next day, or now he's no. That's not something that I'm interested in. Jaron Ennis. Oh, no, that's not the type of fight that I'm interested in. I'm looking for my legacy. This is what I'm going to do. Well, Canelo Alvarez tells him no. Flat out no. So Terence Crawford talks about how Canelo knows that he's dangerous for his legacy and all of that. That may be true. However, Canelo still said no. So clearly you ain't got the clout to be moving Canelo. And having Turki Al-Sheikh, still not enough clout to move fighters that are fighting with the PBC off their square, especially if they're bigger draws than Terence Crawford is. So where's Terence Crawford now? What situation do you have? You have a fight where Fundora, who is the WBC and the WBO champion, will probably drop the WBO to fight Errol Spence Jr. because that's what the PBC's plan for him is, and the PBC's putting the money up for the fight. Also, you have Tim Tszyu, who is now a PBC fighter that is going to be fighting Murtazaliev for Murtazaliev's IBF 154-pound championship. And then, obviously, you have the WBA super champion that has petitioned to be reinstated into his championship in the same division that Terence Crawford holds a belt. So, if you look at what has transpired around Terence, he is anything but a Floyd Mayweather Jr., anything but a Canelo Alvarez coming off the win against Terence Crawford. And you know what else did not help? What did not help was the fact that the fight did not sell well. And the word is that it did negligible pay-per-views. Somebody's out there making up numbers saying it did 150,000 pay-per-views. That's not a particularly good number, 150,000 pay-per-views, but that's not the number that was put out there by Kevin Iole. Kevin Iole is the only person to report on it to date, and he said that the pay-per-view sales were negligible. Somebody slapped the number 150,000 on top of it, and just because I'm telling you, man, the same people keep using that 150,000 pay-per-view number over and over again for multiple fights. That's the go-to number when they're trying to make something up about how many tickets something sells. Let's just say 150. Not too bad, because it's not 70, 60, and it's not 300 that nobody will believe, right? Isn't that interesting? Who did 150? Didn't Terence Crawford? I do believe that Terence Crawford versus David Avanesian from PR.com was rumored to have done 150,000 pay-per-views, right? This same number coming for Terence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov. But the loss of $10 million for Turki Al-Sheikh means that this dude is not a profitable deal if you invest a lot of money in the fight. Just didn't make the money. So not only do you have him not with the major power broker at 154, right, which is Al Heyman, not Turki Al-Sheikh. And that's another funny thing, bro, that I think Turki Al-Sheikh misses in his attempt to gain control of boxing. People gain control of weight classes, typically speaking, and they try to buy out the weight class, try to buy out a couple weight classes and force the fights, really big fights, to take place within those weight classes. Trying to do it from flyweight all the way to heavyweight, I don't know how well that's going to work. But as far as Terence Crawford is concerned, dude, Terence Crawford is going to have to take the fight that he's given. Whether that is they're offering him Jaron Ennis, or they offer him Teofimo Lopez, or they offer him Errol Spence. Whatever he gets off, he's going to have to take something that he is not at the forefront of his mind to take. Otherwise, he's going to have to do what he threatens to do, which is to retire and say that's enough. But guess what? If you retire, everybody's going to move right on. There won't be a bump in the road if Terence Crawford were to retire at 154 pounds, because all they would say is, okay, well, Terence is gone with a great career. Now let's run these championships. Now let's run these championships, because Terence retiring ain't the same thing as Floyd Mayweather retiring. When Floyd Mayweather retired, the money retired. Terence Crawford retiring ain't the same thing as Canelo retiring, because when Canelo retires, the money retires. If Terence Crawford retires, that means the money loss stops. That means people putting on his fight stop losing money. It's just a very, very, very funny situation that he's in, man. And the attitude that he has cannot help. The attitude that he has cannot help. Terence Crawford is so exceptional in the boxing ring and what he does in the ring, but the things that he says outside the ring isolate people all the way from the lowest fan to the highest executive, all the way from a guy that walks up to him and tries to speak to him in a in a hotel lobby that he and his people flip on, right? Somebody that has met Terence Crawford told me that story. Just disagreeable personality for no good reason, according to that dude named Dave, big time YouTube channel. Then you also have, Eddie Hearn, him back and forth going with Eddie Hearn. You have Terence Crawford saying all kind of stuff about Al Heyman, right? And how he needed to get around Al Heyman to get this fight because he's blocking all these fights and all this bad talking he's doing about the executives. Dude, they're not gonna bat an eye if you retire. Not gonna bat an eye if you retire. The reality of the matter is that Terence Crawford is an extremely, extremely good fighter, but he's not the top dude. And you're not going to be able to push buttons. You're not able to call shots without the money. If you're making the money, you call the shots. Ain't no difference between what's going on in your house. When you were a young kid, if you had both parents in the house, right? I had both parents in the house. My dad ran the house. Everybody knew he was ultimately the boss because he paid all the bills. Now, my dad knew my mother was the boss because, hey, she had her own way to get at him, right? That's how we know when we're in relationships with women. But the dude with the money that's paying the bills, at the end of the day, that's the guy that you got to look to, and that's the dude that is really running things, the one that's funding things. So despite Terence Crawford's insistence that he had more accolades in the sport of boxing than Errol Spence, he did 60,000 or 70,000 pay-per-views before Errol, and he did probably the same and lost a ton of money after Errol. So his fights are monetary loss, profit, loss. The next dude, do you think Al Heyman is in the mood to be in loss? You know what I mean? Who's rushing to lose the money the next time? Nobody is. So Bud is going to wind up, if he wants to get the money, bro, Bud is going to have to, the really big fight dude, that shit is going to have to fall in his lap again. Just what it is. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. But yeah, dude, Errol Spence fans are laughing. No joke, man. I've listened to him on live streams for hours. Bunch of them pointing this same thing out. Like, hey, man, yeah, he's a great fighter. Yeah, he whooped Errol. But yeah, he thought he was the draw. He thought he was the reason that fight did well. And he's finding out, and everybody else is finding out that that's not the case. And now he used that technique with Errol to get all that money out of Errol and to get all of those concessions out of Errol. But now he's dealing with other fighters that saw that and they're not making no concessions. They're saying, hey, man, no. That's what Canelo just was flat out. No, give me 188, give me $150 million and I'll fight, little man. Short of that, I'm not trying to hold no conversations with you or go back and forth with you. And the same thing is going to take place with all these other fighters as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Teofimo Lopez tries to jack him for a 60-40 split. Wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't think it was right, but I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.